Hey, Masters, welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. Today we were with the group, the crew from Clubhouse, except one of us because they have an Android, unfortunately. However, we're going to have some fun today. We're going to have a cool conversation. And this is our monthly We Love Real Estate.net meetup. And, now that McKenna, my new assistant, is with me, going forward, things should work out awesome. Yet I booked like 3 different topics and conversations at the same time. So we're going to make this work, though. We're going to really make this work. So what I'm going to start off by doing is just letting everybody just kind of intro themselves. And today, this is going to be a cool conversation. We're going to talk about Clubhouse. Okay. And I'm sure Jay is a spiritual. This guy's a machine. And he doesn't even on Clubhouse. He probably could tell us more about Clubhouse than people are on it. Right. But just because of his connection. But what we'll do is we'll have everybody just kind of give a minute who you are, what you do, and we'll just have a conversation around Clubhouse, and then we'll just have a conversation around mindset and whatever else comes up. How's that? Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
All right, awesome. So we'll start with Katrina.
Okay. Sure. My name is Katrina Abdullah. I'm in the Jacksonville, Florida area. So I think today it is like 77 degrees here today.
You always have to say that.
I just
rub it
always
in.
do. I do.
Yeah.
And I prefer the cold actually, but when you guys are all freezing, it's, I got to say it. I'm in Florida, right? So my name's Katrina. Like I said, I am a growth partner with the Locker Room Real Estate Coaching Company. We offer a virtual digital platform for broker owners and team leaders to be able to train their agents. And then we coach them on growth, retention, profitability, and productivity. And there's a bunch of us. So that's awesome. Me currently what I'm doing.
Awesome. You're a great coach and you're a great influencer. And thank you for the other one. Actually, I believe, you're the one who invited me to Clubhouse and got me.
I nominated you.
Got me hooked on that thing. And now it's like this huge addiction in my life. It's ridiculous. So anyway, I appreciate you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Amanda.
Hey, I'm Amanda Dahl. I'm the Vice President of Operations and Growth for a real estate team in Tampa Bay, Florida. I am also a licensed realtor, been in the business. I will hit my 6 years on March 26th, so I'm excited. 6 years is a lot, right? Entered into our business as an executive assistant with no experience to real estate, and in the last 6 years have grown us to 18 people. I oversee operations. We're about 250 unit team at about 71 million, and that's just over 2 in GCI.
That's a pretty solid real estate team. And it's funny because you and I are always in like these Clubhouse real estate rooms. Like every room, I'm like, if I go in there, I see you. So I'm like, let's just do this, right? I reached out to a few people and said, let's talk about Clubhouse. Cause like, that's the new thing everybody wants to talk about these days.
Well, when you said the podcast was about mastery, I think one thing that's a little bit unique about me and kind of how I got into real estate and then what I decided to do is I want to be a master of the entire business. So I got my real estate license. I script practice and role play regularly. I can take a listing appointment. I can do a buyer consult. I know the numbers in our business. I coach. I do all of that. So it was really important to me to know all facets of our business and be able to speak across all platforms, regardless of what conversation I was in. So that's why you catch me in the script practicing rooms, because it's something that we do every day.
Awesome. Okay, Mr. Malik, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Can you guys hear me? Pretty good.
Yeah. Jay's probably the most chill guy I've ever had on my podcast.
I believe that. I'm pretty chill. Spiritual teacher. Kind of blend spirituality and business. So that works a lot with a lot of solopreneurs or people with, small firms, 3 to 5 employees. And that's really helping people unlock the mind through spirituality, metaphysics, and that all ties into sales and mindset and all that kind of stuff. It all kind of blends together. So I have fun doing all that.
Awesome. So I want you guys to think like we'll actually pretend we're in like a Clubhouse room right now. So like you are all moderators. So you're welcome to ask questions as well, or just chime in. We'll just play it just like that. Okay. So if you like what Jay said, you may want to dig deeper on that. Right. All right. And then
Okay.
Mr. Michael Weisman, what's up, my friend?
Much. Mike Weisman. I'm a real estate agent, team leader here in the great state of Maine. We cover most of our agents are in the mid coast to the southern portion of Portland, greater Portland, Augusta area, but we have team members up as far north as the Canadian border right now. So big state. Team is growing. It's 5 agents, bringing on a couple more right now, hoping to get to 7. With David's astute guidance and tutelage, and basically keeping our nose to the grindstones. With his
Tutelage. I don't know.
yep, pushing us.
I'm not even sure what that is.
He's got us. There you go. He's got us on pace, taking 2 listings a week, and under the penalty of death if we miss it. So we've been hitting it pretty much since November, which is pretty awesome. And set my appointment for Saturday that I expect to get my next listing out. So still on pace for that. But yeah, we're our target's 100 sides this year. We're a relatively young team. I'm just finishing 2 years in the business as an agent, and a bunch of the team is my family. 3 of my boys, my grown kids, are on the team, and we're adding on another 3 right now that are not related to me. So
that'll be a nice relief for you, man. People that actually will listen to you. It's gonna be beautiful.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's yep. And my big thing is David does is tech. I love leveraging tech to make things easier, smoother, and simpler, and run what an elf business, like Joe Polish says, and easy, lucrative, and fun. And so that's really what we're after.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks, man. It's funny for people listening, in November, when we started coaching, you had, I think, yourself and 3 or 4 agents, and you were working on listings and everybody else was a buyer's agent. Right. And then you guys were not taking a lot of listings. And then we just said, everybody is a listing agent now. And you guys fought it for like a couple weeks anyway. And then all of a sudden everybody started taking listings. Now he's got all listing and nobody wants to work with buyers anymore. So we have to hire buyer's agents, which is a good problem to have, right?
We've got one gal that's going to do an awesome right now. She's going to be on our team very, very soon. So yeah.
That's awesome. All right. So we'll go back to Katrina. So Katrina, do you have any questions or comments from anything you heard so far? Or?
No, I'm taking notes. I remember from when I came on with your group last time, the ELF model, easy, lucrative, fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's from Joe Polish.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I just got off. That's where I was all day today. That's why I wasn't on Clubhouse, except for early this morning. I was in a Genius Network meeting all day with really highly successful people. Actually, I wrote down the note this gentleman just shared with us, and he's a CPA, and he only works with like people that have like 7 or 8 figure incomes, like super wealthy. And what did he say? I wrote it down. He was a big tip. Let me see. Oh, he said the wealthiest people on the planet, like anybody that is high wealth or a billionaire, the one thing they all have in common. Can you guys guess the one thing? Anybody want to try to guess? What's the one thing that all the wealthiest people have in common? I'll let y'all take a shot at it. Huh?
Yeah.
I was going to say prospecting, habits.
A coach.
That's a good one.
It's not bad. Malik, you want to take a shot at it?
Taxes.
Well, yeah, that's not a bad answer, man. That's pretty good. See, that's pretty good, man. What about you, Mike? You want to take a shot at it?
Leverage.
No, they all know their numbers.
Yeah.
They know their numbers down to the single digit. Like you could ask, he said, you ask any wealthy person and they'll tell you every metric for every single part of their business down to the single digit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's pretty cool. All right. So that said, let's talk about Clubhouse, man. I mean, wow, what the heck just happened? I was introduced to it a week and a half ago. I'm in there.
It was longer than that. It took you a while to get on there, but yeah.
Did it? All right. Well, it's been great. I've been getting some followers. I've gotten a bunch of people follow me outside of it. So, added some people to my, my funnels and stuff. It's just been awesome. And it's fun. It's like you get into these crazy relationships. It's weird with people. Like all of a sudden, like I know, like I go in a room like, hey, it's Amanda, or it's Katrina, or it's German, it's Chris. And like, these are guys I never even met. I'm just like, they're my best buds now. Right.
I do feel like it's a tribe within a tribe. And I want to talk about followers for a minute, because I've been in a lot of the rooms, the very first rooms I went in, because I was so nervous about like, what is Clubhouse, you know? And honestly, the real estate rooms were mostly multifamily investment rooms. And I just really didn't relate as much, right? Hadn't really found my room that I really enjoyed. So I started going into these rooms like biohacks and how to stand out in Clubhouse, just so I could learn about what am I doing here? And they really helped me see, you know, learn a lot about, you know, what you want your bio to say, and, you know, about the followers. It's not like Facebook or Instagram where you want a ton of followers, because your followers dictate your hallway. So, you know, like when you open the app and it shows you all your rooms, and I know Amanda already knows all this, but.
So hold on. So you're saying you don't want a lot of followers?
You don't want to follow a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Yeah.
You want to be really selective with who you follow, so that your hallway, you know, resonates with the reason why you're on Clubhouse. So you can find your rooms. Yeah. Right. Is anybody else?
No, that's very true, because I said, I don't like the word followers. I wish they would say like connect, right? Versus follow, because follow sounds very superficial in my opinion. I don't need any more followers. It's not what it's about. So when I was first saying it, I'd say, you know, click on their picture, give them a follow. And then I started thinking about the word, and I'm like, I don't really like in my mind what it represents. So now I've just changed what I say to, if anyone on the stage has resonated with you in any regard at all, or something they say really fills you up, click on their picture, give them a follow. And here's why, because you'll be able to see what rooms they're in, versus people just thinking that they need to get followers. I agree with you though. I hide more in my hallway. I don't know if you knew this or not, David, but if you see, and when you're in your hallway, you see all the rooms. If you swipe it to the right, this hide button appears and you click it and it'll hide it so you never see it again. Because I'm seeing all this. I don't even know how I ended up following some of these people. But I'm seeing rooms that are like, how to be the best wife. And I'm like, hide. I don't know how to be a wife, right? Or what does your man think about you? Hide. I don't need to see. Stuff I didn't need to see. So it was nice to know that I could hide it. But yeah, no, Katrina, you're absolutely right. I think it's important for you to follow people that resonate with you. And because we, like David said, right, we walk into rooms and we see, or we come into rooms and we see a lot of each other. And so we know that we're resonating with one another. So every now and then someone will pop up and I'm like, because I love that I get to carry you guys around in my pocket. Like, that's really what it is. And a lot of people say, like, how are you on Clubhouse all day long and do what you do? And I'm like, no, it's just in my ear so I can hear. And every now and then someone will pop up and say something and I'm like, what was that? And they'll surprise me. So I want to go follow them.
Cool. Well, thanks for following me, by the way. I had to like threaten you, like, you can't be on my podcast unless you follow me.
I didn't even realize I wasn't following
it's
you.
all good.
I just see you in every room.
So you'll probably unfollow me as soon as we're done with the episode. I get it. All right. So Jay, you're not on Clubhouse yet, man. How does that make you feel?
Somebody told me, well, 3 people tried to invite me, and I realized that you needed an iPhone to do it. And I was like, let's go get an iPod Touch or an iPad. But I was like, what made me hesitant to a degree, I saw other tech platforms developing similar things, like Twitter has like audio spaces developing. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna wait this out and kind of see how it's rumbling. It's still here. It still has staying power. So I see it as a viable connection tool. I think we think about Zoom. People like Zoom because it connects. It's an audio form of Zoom. I don't have to go upload, this massive bandwidth with video. It's just like we're talking on the phone through an app. It's very, very convenient. I think the audio platform is going to shift to Twitter, Facebook, maybe in the future because of how Clubhouse is impacting the marketplace.
Yeah, I listened to Recode. It's a NPR podcast. They were talking about this yesterday. They were saying Twitter is already in the process of developing something pretty much the same as Clubhouse, and probably Facebook's gonna try to jump on the wagon as well. So it's interesting.
I think what's different on Clubhouse is what I've noticed is that it's definitely a more of a business focus. It's more of a LinkedIn feel of who's on there. I'm not seeing a lot of. I mean, it could be what I'm.
Well, that might just be because of the rooms you're in, right? I
guess,
there's a lot. There's a lot of other stuff going on there
Some
too.
of the rooms are very fascinating, to say that.
Yeah, it's a good
the
word.
least,
Yeah, they were
you
talking
know.
about that too. Some there's like a lot of gray areas right now in some of the stuff going on.
Here's my concern with Clubhouse, right? And just hear me out for a second. My love language is quality time. And so I don't need a lot of it. And yet when I do have quality time with you, I want your attention. I want your phone down. I don't want to be watching a movie. Like, I want to be engaging. And my concern with Clubhouse is I am finding that it's more of a pop in, pop out, and you don't have somebody's full attention. So I'm seeing more and more in these rooms that we're popping into where it's like, oh, he must have a call, or, oh, I'm sure he'll be right back, or, oh, he's away from his mic. And I feel like it devalues in some degree the sense of the conversation and what we're talking about. And it hasn't become an issue for me yet. And I will tell you that I think moving forward, if you want to have conversations with people that are extremely intentional, and you want everybody present, you're going to have to announce that, because I can see more and more that it's becoming a habit that people are just popping in and out. So I thought it would have bothered me already, because I am a quality person, or quality time love language individual. It hasn't so much yet. I'll get into some rooms and it's like mods, and this one was doing this, and sorry, I was getting kids. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just like, well, what am I here for? Nobody can answer the question. So that is a concern of mine moving forward, is that you're going to have to get really specific about the integrity of the room and what your expectations are with the people that you bring into it.
You bring up a good point, because there are some rooms you go into and they're moderated really, really well. Like our morning room, I feel like that's one of the better rooms. It's moderated really, really well. You know, we're there, so you know it's better. No, I'm kidding.
Of course,
but I've been in some, and I'm like, okay, who's running this? You know, people are contributing, and there's no follow up. There's nobody moving people along, and I've also moderated some rooms where people aren't paying attention, and I'm the only one paying attention to like bringing people up on stage, and so it depends on the room. And I had a conversation with somebody, I can't remember who it was, but a whole conversation about people just kind of being a moderator but not being there. They're signed on to Clubhouse with several different devices, because you know Clubhouse is giving them more access to their clubs, more followers, that kind of thing. So there's some of that. I mean, but there's like stuff like that,
like anything, you know, there's going to be there's always going to be the good, and then there's going to be the other side. It's just that's life. Mike, I know you were going to say something. I kind of jumped in, Michael, on you. What were you?
I was going to say, but just to follow up what everybody's saying, because I have a background in broadcast production, television, video, and to a certain extent radio, but I never did radio. But that's the silence is what kills radio. If you listen to a radio, it's never silent. 3 seconds is like, did something happen? Did it break? And so when you talk about a good moderator, that in a talk show on TV or radio, there can be no silence. There's got to be someone filling that void. And so I think it's definitely is an opportunity for people to get good at become good moderators, to really to stretch your influence. I think the people that learn to become the best moderators, like when David moderates a room, I think it's great, right? If we've all can attest to that, when you're on it, he's reaching out, he's looking for people to comment, he's prompting people what the next question should be, and it's that awkward silence that you guys are describing, that having a good voice there. We get Jay on there. Jay's got the late night DJ, FM DJ voice.
Yes.
He's going to kill it when he gets on there.
He's going to kill it on that.
This guy, he does like a Facebook post and he's got like 400 likes and like, it's crazy. But here's the thing, going to your point. I don't even remember where I was going with that now. That's crazy. What you said? Oh, we were talking about moderators. Yeah. I'm losing my mind here.
Becoming a good moderator is going to be the current.
Well, you said I was a good moderator, and I feel like the first couple of times it was a mess. It was right, because I like had no idea what I was doing, and it's different. Like I can do a podcast and I can do this because I can see people. I know when they stop talking most times. Right in there, you really don't. And then you got some people like will share and they're just so far off topic and they just ramble on. So you're like, oh, do I cut them off? Do I jump in? So it's like you got to kind of figure all that out, right? And I guess you just have to create, your style, your room. Like, right, if if you're a moderator, then I guess you make the rules, right? Is that
well, to like, piggyback on what Amanda said about, moderators are off doing different things. I get invited to rooms to moderate it, but I won't if the topic doesn't resonate with me, if I don't have any value to add. I have somebody now that's just like, why don't you get on? I'm like, I don't have anything to add to this topic. I'm sorry. And I'm not going to just sit there and put my phone down because that's defeats the purpose for me to be on the app. I'm really intentional about my time. And if I'm on there, I want to be providing value and getting value at the same time.
I would seriously say it. It's embarrassing to say this, but I'm like, I feel like I'm addicted to it. I as soon as I get up in the morning, I look at it. It's the only thing that I've left the notifications on. So I'm always seeing the notifications. I was on it last night till 10:45, which is, I'm usually in bed at 10. I got to figure this out. Is that really common? Like, I see a lot of people on it all the time. Jay, why are people like, you're not even on it, but like, why do you think it's so attractive to people like that? Right. Cause you're like, why are people, I'm just curious if you even have an answer. I mean, you may not, but
I think the app does two things really, really well. One, they rolled out with the exclusive model, which is kind of like the VIP club. Like if you're not in, you're not in, but also the fact that it's a constant audio stream versus like a YouTube video or Instagram post. I can go watch it later. I may miss out on something. I'm not on the app. So the fear of missing out is very, very extreme. And so if you get in a room and it's high quality people in and giving good advice, you don't want to miss that 30 seconds of good advice because they may never say it again. And that's really powerful.
Yep.
What's up? I'm on a podcast. You want to jump on?
FOMO.
Yeah, man. Jump on.
I totally believe that, Jake. And here's the deal.
Zoom with David. Let me mute myself.
Yeah.
They even said that actually Gary Vee was on. And he's like, I would literally be on this every single day, but I have meetings all day long, and it's like in the moment interaction. And if you can't be interacting in the moment, it totally loses its whole purpose. So you're absolutely right. And people will get FOMO when they hear the next morning someone talking about these awesome rooms and all the value that they gained from them. They're like, oh my gosh, how do I make it so I don't miss that next time? And I think you just have to be really purposeful, really intentional. And it's funny, I was defending this to my brother-in-law because I went down to Naples to visit my my brother-in-law and my sister last weekend. And he's like, God, you've got that in your ear all the time. And I said, well, here's the thing. It's for me, a lead generation tool. It's a knowledge book, however you want to say it. It's a way for me to learn, right? It's also a way for me to engage with people and network. So in my normal life, I would have time allocated to each one of those things. I would have each one of those individual buckets would be full in a different way. And so for me, it serves three purposes. Here's the deal though. I put a plan in place very early. I was like, if I don't at least give one piece of value and then take one nugget that I learned and implemented, I don't get the opportunity to go on Clubhouse the next day because I will get consumed. And I know that about myself. So I think it's important that you do have, you have whatever your boundaries are with it, yet I think it can serve multiple purposes. So I'm not saying make excuses, David. I'm saying if you take a nugget from it, and then if you implement a nugget from it and you give a piece of value, if that's what your intention is, then it can be used for multiple things. It's not just getting on there just to get on there, right?
Yeah, amen. I mean, I run a coaching company. Obviously, I coach real estate agents, so I'm looking for clients. I don't know. I think I've been engaged in a week and a half. I've got 500 followers. So, I've had a YouTube channel for 15 years and I've got 1,300 followers. So I think being intentional about it is what I'm really up to. And I'm not trying to just get followers so I can sell them coaching. I want to help people change their lives. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's the coaching I can bring to them is going to help them in their business, help them in their time management, help them get a better life, spend more time with their families. So I think from that perspective, it's a great opportunity. And,
I already have a Clubhouse database that I'm dripping on. Every person, because I'll say something like, if you want my script book, DM me. If you want that, DM me. And every time someone DMs me, I'm like, thanks so much for connecting. Would you send me an email to remind me? Because I will forget and I'm not at my desk. And every one of them sends me an email, and whatever I do, I file them into that folder. And then I literally, for the past 4 weeks, I've got one day where I'll go take anyone new and I put them into my spreadsheet now. And they're people I'm going to start dripping on. So if you're intentional and purposeful, I think it'll be okay.
I believe that too.
I love it. That was Aaron. Aaron, that was Aaron Wittenstein calling me. I invited him on and I thought he was on the wrong place. That's why he answered. I'm like, getting on here. He's like, I can't right now. Another Clubhouse. Like, I've known Aaron for years. We completely lost contact. Like, hadn't talked to him in 6 years. And then all of a sudden in Clubhouse, we're best buds again.
So Aaron, I've never met, but I've been following him for years. I've been, I used to watch his live scripts and role play in the Objections Facebook page when I was calling expired and FSBO. Like, he helped me learn how to start calling for sell by owners. And I told him that. I was like, you just don't know. I mean, you were my guy. And we DM'd later, and I've never met him, but now I have via Clubhouse, right? I love the tool. I also think that I go on there to not only get my cup full, but to leave some nuggets, like fill some cups up. And then 100%. I'm okay with detaching from it once I've done that. Like, once I feel like I've done that, I can detach. And right along with Amanda, I'm also using it for, prospecting, networking, relationship building. I've already made a couple of introductions, for people. And here's the other thing Clubhouse is doing for me, is making me up my game in social media, right? I created a tap link. I've never had anything like that before. As a matter of fact, I had forgotten all about Instagram. Like, I hadn't used it in probably a solid year. And I went on there and cleaned it up. And, now I'm more intentional about posting there. I'm enjoying the interaction I'm having there. And so Clubhouse for me has helped me streamline some things, some easy marketing things, and some making it easier for people to contact me, which is probably something I needed to do a long time ago, quite honestly.
Hey, what questions do you have for Jay, anybody?
I was going to take it on a deeper level and say you're about mind, body, and soul, essentially. So what, if you could foresee this being, since the topic is Clubhouse, if you could foresee this being an issue for anyone when it comes to mind, body, and soul, what would be your red flags, or what would you be paying attention to?
That's a good question.
And I can even follow that up if you want a minute to think, because there are some people that get on there and get extremely vulnerable about and it's one of the things that we love, yet they get extremely vulnerable about deaths in their family, depression, disease that and I honestly, I know what my thoughts are on it. I would love to know what your thoughts are on it.
I think the initial thing, like the surface level thing, is just the anxiety it can cause people. That I don't think, every time we get new technology, nobody ever really thinks about the second, third, fourth order consequence. It's like the second order consequence is pretty good, and then third, fourth, fifth, it's like deteriorating. I think because there's this anxiety of missing out, we're already in this information overload age, and there's a lot of attachment to information and confidence that I think people have everything they need to know to move forward, but they feel like they don't have enough to move forward. So like there's an internal conflict, and I think that is very, very detrimental in the long term if you're always seeking something, like, especially if this is like a 24/7 kind of streaming thing. On a vulnerable level, when it scales up, I'm thinking about like harassment, things of that nature, because as it scales, you get pools populating, you get different ideas, ideologies, philosophies are going to clash eventually. What does the space do to clean up that, to make it a healthy conflict resolution? Because humans really aren't that good at conflict resolution. We're pretty horrible at it. And that's probably the most dangerous space. You have this anxiety, maybe the feeling of like not having the self-worth, and then the long-term, what kind of conflict and harassment things will Clubhouse do that they don't have the experience of a Facebook or a Twitter or Instagram or a YouTube to kind of manage communities at that level.
Mm-hmm. I also, like, I don't want to take the pendulum and swing it from one end to the other necessarily, yet I'm along the same mindset of you in the negative space, right? That it can be a place where it can sometimes feel like somebody did something to you that intentionally they didn't, or maybe they did, right? There are ways, even when I see moderating rooms, where it can feel like someone cut you off very quick and their intention was just to keep the room moving, right? Or you're completely off topic, so they're trying to bring you back in, and that rubbed you the wrong way because you can't see people's mannerisms, you can't see their facial expressions. To swing the pendulum the whole other way, though, I think that it's a place where it's not, there's no screenshot of it. You don't put it in text and then it follows you around for the rest of your life. There's no like recording of it at all. It's in real time, and when it goes away, it goes away. And I think for those people that would be extremely, extremely terrified to share anything vulnerable on any other social platform, this might be the one area where they feel like I can say it. In that moment, we all feel it, and then we move on to the next person and it's gone. And I feel like more on the positive side, it's going to give people who wouldn't normally have a voice to speak up about depression they're dealing with, or to speak up about what's happening internally, to do that because they don't feel as judged, and there's nothing that's going to follow them around for the rest of their life because of it. So I can see it affecting in a positive way that way, but I'm along the same mindset of you when it comes to the negatives. I think that it can sometimes feel very bully-ish. You feel like people are ganging up on you, like they're dismissing you, they're not hearing you, they're not valuing what you're saying. So I think you just got to be careful.
Yeah.
And as moderators of rooms and people who are stepping up, I think it's our job to say, thank you so much for adding that. We appreciate your vulnerability, or you know what, thank you so much for saying that. And even though we're going to move along, I would love to connect with you offline about it. So make someone feel valued. So I think there are ways to do that and put practices in place where you can kind of stay in the margins of the positive and the negative and make everybody feel like it is essentially a safe space, even though I feel like that term's been played out so much. But truthfully,
yeah, I think it's going to expose how different humans are, because we take for granted like our little bitty like tweaks and quirks. And when you address, like you said, your love language is quality time, someone else may be words of affirmation, and they may be in a room and take some words more harshly, or it's very dynamic when you get people communicating, because that's what we all do, right, for a living, essentially, is communicate problem solutions to people. And so when you throw in emotions and anxiety, it gets interesting. I think it's going to be fun, though. I think as it rolls out, I think it's going to develop and evolve as everything does.
To your guys' point, though, I think that is the benefit of having more than one moderator, or having quite a few moderators, you know, because one person may not be able to deal with that scenario. As a matter of fact, this morning in our room, not to say his name, we had somebody that was really vulnerable, you know, and just needed someone to listen to him and acknowledge him right in that moment.
Oh, he was mad. Yeah, he was mad, and he wanted someone to hear it. You're absolutely right.
He did. And as a matter of fact, the first moderator was like 30 seconds to respond to him. And then who responded was the right person. He's exactly who this guy needed to connect with. He talked him down, and I was like, okay, my heart was already hurting for him because I could tell where he was coming from. And I thought, we may have just witnessed, you know, an intervention. I mean, I felt that sincere about his mental health in that moment, that we may have just helped this human being. And I pray we did, honestly. But he had mentioned he had been in all these rooms and couldn't speak. And he was really upset about it. So there is that side of it that we were just talking about. The other side is having more people. And that's why I was in that moment, I said, oh, that's the true benefit of having a few moderators in the room.
You know, it was funny. I was in a room last week and there was a guy, the guy was carrying on. You may have been in this room too. And then someone else just like cut right in and said, you know what? I'm going to stop you. And I'm sure everybody else in the room is going to, you know, like thank me for that. I don't know if you guys were in that. It was last week. It was maybe like last Wednesday or something. And,
Yep.
and one of the mods like jumped in and was like, well, hold on. That's not really how we mod. Were you in it? Were you may have been, anyway, either, it doesn't matter, but
it sounds like Amanda
I was
but
just
I wasn't,
listening to that. And then, you know, he cut the guy off. The guy was kind of rambling, but I guess you got to figure out the right way to get someone back focused, which can happen. But the way he did it was way kind of like just super aggressive and disrespectful. And then not only that, but the guy that did it, then he went on this huge tangent about like
that was the same person, David. It's the same person.
Yeah, it was wild. And I'm listening to this, like, what is wrong with this guy? And then finally, like, I wasn't a mod, like one of the other mods just said, oh, well, hold on. Why don't we hold on, let's do this. Let's get back focused. But it was just so interesting, like how unaware that person was of their being. Like he just completely disrespected someone, cut them off for going on a tangent, and then went on a tangent himself. It was like, what? It was just crazy.
Well,
but
like
anyway,
Jay just said, we're not very good with conflict resolution. I feel the most challenging thing, and I don't know, Amanda, you've been moderating quite a few rooms, is when somebody comes on stage and just wants to sell something. And they're actually in conversation. It's kind of, they're very slick with it. They'll get in conversation with somebody else on stage, or they'll ask a question, but it's just, leading you down that sales funnel. And I've had to get people off stage that way. Like, sorry, you can connect with all these people offline and DM them. And I'm sure if your product makes sense, they'll sit down and talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's interesting is, sometimes I'll jump in a room and I'll get you in a minute, Mike. I jump in a room and then somebody just automatically makes me a mod. And I'm just like, all right, cool. Now I'm a mod. But there's like 7 other mods. I don't know, should I jump in? Is this the lead mod, or am I, the second level? It's just this whole, there's no real clarity, I don't think, as far as how that goes. I don't know if there's like a training or something on that, but anyway,
I know Michael had something to say, and then
I'm gonna get to Michael. Paul Michael's just been sitting here the whole time.
No worries. I was thinking as they were talking about, like Amanda was saying, asking Jay about the risks and that and the upsides and downs. I'm curious to see how they're going to go ahead and monetize this, because ultimately, I mean, they're doing it for a passion, but probably not doing it for love. So it's expensive to build these apps, to run these apps. There's a lot of data being switched around. There's a lot of back end there. It's not cheap. There's a lot of money behind it. So at some point, and they're making data from us, right? And so David, you opened up by saying, I'm kind of addicted to it. And I've heard you describe it as some addictive substances in some of these rooms.
So many people, Michael, I hear.
Right. So when you talk about the addictiveness of social media, right, that's engineered. You don't have to, there's a lot of movies about it now, but that's a dopamine rush, right? And that's engineered. So as they dial this in and do this kind of experiment on us as to what works and keeps us engaged, keeps notifications on, keeps us, there's not, that's a bad thing always. I'm saying everybody's entitled to make money. We're all in the business, to a certain extent, to support our families and our livelihoods. I'm really curious to see which way that goes. I don't think it's going to be buying a 99-cent app. I think it's going to be much more than that when you have this many people involved.
That's a good point.
Who's following you, and they know what groups they're in. So now it's more and more
membership.
And if I was a betting guy, I'd say they're going to be acquired. They're going to want to they'll be sold to a Google or Facebook. Something. I'm just guessing, but
yeah,
I wouldn't, because just like data, right? Zillow buying, showing time this week, it's blowing up. Everybody want data. So, I'm just curious to see where going with it. It's like, remember Google Voice? We all ever used Google Voice, and we've all used that over the years.
Yeah.
Google Voice.
Yeah, so Google,
It used to be free.
Google Voice. Yeah, but they don't make any money from it. They didn't buy it to make money. Why did they buy it? Because they wanted to perfect their language recognition. So in your terms of service, when you clicked on it umpteen years ago, you agreed that they could listen to all your conversations for their own analysis purposes. That's how they developed Hello, OK, Google, hearing everybody kind of speak all over the world with all the accents and whatnot. They wanted the voice data. They didn't want this like to be in the telephone business. There was no money in that. So I'm just curious. I'm always fascinated. How are they going to monetize this? And, where is it going to lead, and how addictive will it actually get?
Well, let me ask y'all this. Was it just me, or have you opened the app and saw an ad? Or was that just me?
I've not.
I haven't seen any ads.
Oh, I gotta look.
I opened the app one night. It was late. And there was an
that's
ad.
Coming. I mean, no matter
And the
what,
ad disappeared.
yeah.
The ad was there and disappeared. And I was like, whoa.
Something.
Either that or a membership, something's coming. There's gonna be some monetization to it. So let's do this. Well, let me reset the podcast first. No, like reset. Let's reset the room.
I heard that
Like,
you got
yeah.
yesterday. They got that explained to him yesterday.
Yeah. Twice I've had to understand what reset the room meant. But well, the reality is so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap up this conversation. We're gonna get wrapping up. What I'd like to do is everybody share what is your username on Clubhouse. So obviously when people go on, they can follow you. And then what's the biggest challenge in your opinion, and then the biggest opportunity? And we'll just go through each of us and we'll kind of wrap it up like that. How's that sound? We'll start with you, Michael.
Biggest challenge in Clubhouse, or biggest?
Yeah, with the biggest challenge with Clubhouse, and then what would you say is the biggest opportunity?
Okay, so my username on Clubhouse is just my name, Michael_Weisman. So pretty easy to. I didn't know how to pick
Weisman spelled W-E-I-S-M-A.
W-E-I-S-M-A-N. Yep. And the biggest opportunity I think is definitely to have a platform where you can get your message out in an authentic way, in a realistic way, a transparent way, that you can make connections with real people. I think there's certainly anytime you can connect, especially this last year, right? The pandemic year. And I often wonder if that isn't really putting a little gasoline on the fire to grow this this app. It's another way to get out of our space that we've been all locked into. So there's the opportunity to make connections. And then the challenge, I think, will be to at some point to stand out above and be able to be, to make it worth your time. And you're getting a real return on your time in there. I mean, right now it's not that big. Maybe we can get some clients, we can make some connections. As it gets bigger and bigger, does it become more of a time? Do we feel like we're doing something constructive when we're actually not? You can get faked a little bit. So I think the challenge is going to be to figure out how to really measure it, right? An ROI, return on your time.
So Katrina, same question. You can answer them both if you want, or one or the other. It's up to you.
Yeah. So my username is Broker Coach Cat, and that's cat with a K. So Broker Coach Cat. Let's see. I would say one of the biggest challenges, I think, in just the real estate world that we're in is just the saturation of real estate professionals on the app. There's a lot of us, and I'm not saying that that's wrong or bad, because I think that there's plenty of business. There's so many coaches, so many real estate agents, and everyone has a different type of ideal client, right? And people are going to generate to you. And I'm a true believer of like, what's meant for me is for me, and what's not, isn't. I'm cool with that. I think in the real estate space, from the point of the consumer, when the consumers really start getting on and coming into these real estate rooms, I feel like they could get a lot of different information. So that may be challenging for whoever they're actually really working with, right? Just a thought there on one of the challenges. And then I think for opportunity, man, I love high-level conversations, and to me, this is just a gold mine of just constant high-level conversations. I'm a single mom. My son's 14 years old. We don't have that many high-level conversations, right? So the fact that, you know, while he's playing his video game, I can tap on and be around some adults and talk about things that interest me and I'm passionate about. That's the opportunity in it for me. And then I can actually pour into people and get poured into. It's just, you know, beyond anything I imagined when I downloaded the app that I would, you know, receive. So that's what I see.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're
So, Jay, beyond not having an iPhone, what's the biggest challenge?
So I think the biggest challenge is going to be the external validation that's needed sometimes that app can draw in as we like operating in the business space. But I think the biggest opportunity is for it not just to be the funnel, but it can be something you draw people that's already into your world into. So say I have people on my email list, I say, hey, we're hosting this, and maybe you're all the sole moderator because you're talking to your warm leads and it's more of a nurturing thing versus a prospecting tool. So I think it's a very, very powerful nurturing because you're getting to know the people you already kind of built rapport with, and you can kind of control that room in a small niche environment. I think that's like, we're doing this right now. This is small, you know, it feels more intimate versus maybe some of the larger rooms where it feels like a constant sales pitch. And I think that is going to be a very differentiating thing when it comes to how people navigate it as far as like business people, sales people, et cetera.
Yeah. Something else that they were talking about was there's a lot of fake millionaires and billionaires on there that are, you know, they got like rooms, you know, like what billionaires they can, you know, nobody in a room's a billionaire, you know what I mean? But anyway, I think that just comes with the territory, you know? So like we said, there's definitely going to be, you know, pros and cons and yeah, I think, you know, that's why this is a cool conversation. I appreciate all you guys having it with us. And Amanda, what's your thought on this?
Yeah, so my handle is Amanda Doll. That's DOLL. And so honestly, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think the greatest opportunity it has is you've literally just expedited the way that people can connect with one another. I mean, it's almost, I see it like speed of light. In 2 seconds, you click on an app and you can pop into any conversation and you're hearing all these different voices at any point in the world at this point. So that has been eye-opening for me, especially when we get those people who are in Australia and who are in Asia and who are in all these other places. I think that is probably the coolest thing. And we've done it. It's not like we have to schedule a Zoom call and we all have to make sure our times meet up and our cameras have to work and audio has to work. You have it just like your phone everywhere you go. And by the one click of a button, you're there. So that's cool. On the other hand, though, I feel like it's so quick. And it connects so many people across the world, and it's such an open platform that you've literally just handed a hot mic to anybody that wants to grab it. And I think there are going to be a lot of people who are going to use it to send the wrong message. They're going to use it to bully people. There are positive ways we can use it as well. And yet I think we're going to see a lot more of that. It's so much easier to hide behind this mic and pretend like you're something that you're not. So I think as a user of the platform, you are going to have to be very, very, very purposeful in vetting the people that you're listening to, vetting the people that you're engaging with off the application, because that could be, I saw a couple of rooms like that just here recently in the last couple of weeks, and it was a big, huge thing all over Clubhouse. So you just have to be, just be smart, people, right? Just be smart.
Yeah, there's a lot of self-policing right now, and we'll have to see, you know, how effective that's going to be going forward as it continues to grow. So yeah, I agree. I think there's definitely some high level conversations that have got me engaged in, you know, I think there's a lot of opportunity definitely to connect with people that you don't know from all over the world. Yeah. And you know, I'd say for me, the challenge is just being intentional, you know, really being intentional with, you know, when am I going to go on? You know, what's the purpose? You know, I have to be, because I just have too many other things in my life going on to just, you know, pop it on in the morning. And, you know, sometimes it's okay, I guess, to leave it going if you're doing emails or something, but I don't know. I think that's my challenge, is being intentional.
I love that.
And my handler is David I. Hill. So, well, I just want to thank all of you. This has been a great conversation. It's been really fun. I will get it out there. I'll share it. Jay, hopefully we'll see you in there soon. What will your handler be, by the way? We'll pick that for you now.
No one still is, but it's going to be J Malik Coaching, most likely.
I like it.
All right. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, we appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys on Clubhouse.
Yeah, see you soon.